Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan didn't disappear because it ran out of stories. It collapsed under the weight of serious controversy, damaging lawsuits, and personal tragedy that unfolded largely out of the public eye. For nearly a decade, Cesar Millan had been one of television's biggest stars, transforming aggressive dogs that their owners had already given up on. But behind that success were growing accusations about his training methods, sustained pressure from animal welfare organizations, legal battles, and a private breakdown that nearly cost him his life. So what really ended the Dog Whisperer after 9 seasons? And how did the man who built a career teaching calm and control lose control of his own world? The television show arrived when a production company called MPH Entertainment noticed what Cesar was doing with celebrity dogs in Los Angeles and built a pitch around it. On September 13, 2004, Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan premiered on the National Geographic Channel, and almost nobody noticed. The network didn't promote it, it wasn't in prime time, and the early episodes ran just 30 minutes. None of that mattered. Word of mouth did what the network's promotion department hadn't bothered to do. And by season 2 the show had been expanded to an hour and moved to prime time. By season 6, the New York Times estimated his American audience at 11 million viewers per week. In more than 80 countries, people were watching a Mexican immigrant who had crossed the border illegally teach them how to communicate with their dogs, and it was working. But the scientific community had been watching too. And from almost the very beginning, they didn't like what they saw. Cesar's method was built on a concept he called calm assertive energy. His core belief was that dogs operate within a pack structure with a clear leader at the top, and that when a dog behaves aggressively or destructively, it's almost always because the human in the household has failed to establish themselves as that leader. The dog then fills the vacuum the only way it knows how, through dominance, anxiety, or aggression. Cesar's job was to walk in, become the calm assertive presence the dog needed, and restore the natural order. It made for extraordinary television. Watching a dog that had terrorized a family for years go quiet within a single afternoon session felt like watching someone perform magic in real time. The explanations Cesar offered, built around natural hierarchy and pack leadership, made intuitive sense to millions of viewers at home. The problem was that the science didn't agree. Dr. Nicholas Dodman, director of the Animal Behavior Clinic at Tufts University's Cummings School of Veterinary Medicine, wrote to the National Geographic Channel in 2006 to state plainly that the show had set dog training back 20 years. Writer and animal behavior expert Mark Durr published a piece in the New York Times that same year arguing that Cesar's methodology flew in the face of what professional animal behaviorists and ethologists had learned about how dogs actually think and behave. The specific target of the criticism was dominance theory, the idea that dogs are constantly competing for alpha status and that humans must assert dominance to maintain order. The wolf studies that dominance theory was originally built on, it turned out, had been conducted on captive wolves in artificial conditions, not natural family packs in the wild. When researchers observed wild wolves, they found that leadership was exercised by parent figures within family units, not through aggressive competition for status. The entire scientific foundation of the alpha model, the critics argued, was flawed from the start. The American Humane Association went further than academic criticism. In 2006, they formally requested that the National Geographic Channel cancel the show, calling the training methods shown inhumane, outdated, and dangerous. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior issued a statement in 2009 warning, without naming Cesar directly, though the target was clear, that dominance-based training could cause fear and aggression in dogs rather than resolve it. In 2012, on British television, host Alan Titchmarsh directly confronted Cesar on air, citing the RSPCA's position that his methods caused fear in dogs and worsened the very problems they were meant to fix. Cesar pushed back hard. He believed in what he was doing not because of theory but because he had watched it work, not just on television where editing could smooth over failure, but in real life with hundreds of dogs over 15 years. He described his academic critics as people who understood theory but had never sat across from a genuinely dangerous animal and had to make a decision in real time. He had a point. But the sustained drumbeat of professional organizations calling the show harmful was creating a slow, compounding problem for a network whose brand was built on scientific credibility. For all the external pressure building around the show, what hit Caesar hardest was not a lawsuit, a scientific paper, or a confrontation on British television. It was 2010, and it came for him like a series of hammer blows with no time to recover between them. In February, Daddy died. Daddy was a 16-year-old pit bull who had been Caesar's most important working partner since before the show existed. A dog so naturally calm and so instinctively skilled at diffusing tension with anxious or aggressive animals that Caesar used him as a living demonstration of what balanced energy actually looked like. Losing Daddy was, by Caesar's own account, like losing a piece of himself. 4 months later, his wife Illusion filed for divorce. They had been married for 16 years and had 2 sons together. The marriage had been the stable private center of a very publicly unstable life. When it ended, the ground came out from under him entirely. As he later told, "I went into a big depression. I lost a lot of weight. I felt that I had lost the most important thing, my family." He described feeling defeated, consumed by guilt, and at the lowest point he had ever reached emotionally and psychologically. The man who had spent 9 years on television teaching people to project calm, assertive energy, to be the steady, grounded presence their animals needed, could not find calm anywhere inside himself. He attempted to take his own life. He was found unconscious and hospitalized. He survived. In the aftermath, he declined medication and chose instead to channel his recovery into the work that had always given his life structure and meaning. He has spoken about the experience with characteristic directness. "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger," he told the Tampa Bay Times. "That became real for me. It made me closer to people." He said that going through that period changed how he recognized the signs of depression, and that as a father, he now watches for those signs in his sons with an attention he wouldn't have had before. The official end of Dog Whisperer with Cesar Millan came in September 2012, after 9 seasons and 162 episodes. Caesar announced it on Facebook, thanking the fans who had supported the show. The statement said almost nothing about why it was ending. The real picture was a tangle of factors that had been accumulating for years and had finally reached a combined weight the network was unwilling to carry any further. The ratings had been declining, not catastrophically, but enough to prompt serious conversations about whether the return justified the risk. Production costs had risen significantly over 9 seasons, meaning the show needed to perform at a high level just to break even. The controversy never stopped, and each new season brought fresh coverage of the debate. For a channel whose identity was grounded in scientific credibility and animal welfare, hosting a show that major scientific organizations publicly said set the field back by decades was a tension that was never going to resolve itself in the show's favor. And then there was the human element. A man who had been carrying enormous private weight that was visible to everyone close to the production, even if it never made the air. The energy was different. The show was different. Pet journalist and longtime critic of Caesar's methods, Steve Dale, put it plainly when writing about the cancellation: "It's a matter of ratings. People don't watch and programs go away." Perhaps the science finally trickled down to the public. Perhaps audiences simply moved on. Most likely, all of it was true at once. The end of Dog Whisperer did not end Cesar Millan. He took his work on the road with Cesar Millan Live, a touring stage show where he demonstrated dog training in real time using shelter animals, dogs that had never met him, carrying all the unpredictability of genuine rescue cases, with no editing bay to smooth over anything that didn't work. In 2014, he returned to television with Caesar 911 on Nat Geo Wild, focusing on emergency interventions with dogs whose behavior was dangerous enough that their owners were days away from surrendering them or having them euthanized. The show ran for 4 seasons. He built a YouTube channel with over 1 million subscribers, toured internationally, and eventually found love again, proposing to his partner Jahira Dar in Athens overlooking the Acropolis, after convincing her the trip was to Italy. In 2021, he returned to National Geographic, the same network that had ended his show 9 years earlier, with Cesar Millan, Better Human, Better Dog, a program that focused on what the original show rarely had time for, the human side of the problem. By any measure, he is still working, still relevant, and still evolving, more than a decade after the cancellation that was supposed to close the chapter. So what really ended the Dog Whisperer? The scientists who said the methods were wrong? The network that grew tired of defending the controversy? Or the private collapse of a man who had been carrying far more than any camera ever showed? Probably all three, arriving at the same time, from the same direction, until the weight became too much to hold.